Hey, hello, leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr., and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So today, man, my voice is going. I think the ragweed season is in full force, so excuse my voice if I'm sounding a little bit rough this morning. So today, I want to talk about something that I read. Actually, I do several devotionals in the YouVersion Bible app every day, and man, I've been going through a couple devotions lately, and they're so good. And you never know when you're going to get inspiration or where you're going to get inspiration from. And I never know when I'm going to get them or where I'm going to get them for these shows. But I've definitely been getting inspiration from some of the devotionals lately. So just kind of bear with me, and I think we all can learn from this. But today I want to talk about how high performance leaders change and adjust as needed. And this change and these adjustments, they might just be ongoing. I mean, for the rest of your lives, that we're always looking at ourselves and we're looking to grow as a leader, to get better. So one of the first things we have to realize, though, is in order to grow, we have to let go of something. In order to get better, we have to leave the not so good ways behind us. But the problem is a lot of these ways of doing things, which might not be the best, have become habits for us. And it's just, we do it subconsciously. We just do it. They're just a part of our lives, right? We get up, we hit the alarm clock, we get out of bed, we go, we brush our teeth, we shower, whatever. We're not even thinking about it. We just do it. And some of our habits have to change, have to adjust with the times, or possibly with the situation that we're leading, or possibly with our team members and how to lead our team members. So in this devotional the other day, it said that defects, and this is kind of a different way of looking at things that you might not do the best or things that are weaker areas. They called it defects, and I really like this. But it said defects are often our strengths being misused. Now, I don't know about you, but man, that just really got me fired up when I read that because I'd never heard it put that way. I've heard that strengths, if you overuse your strengths, they can become weaknesses, or they could become weaker areas. But I just loved how they said that. Our defects are often our strengths being misused. Now, to change these misused strengths and to start using them adequately so they are indeed strengths, we got to change. We have to adjust. We have to let go of the old way of doing things. And you can never change without making a choice to change. So the very first thing that you have to do if you realize that you have to change doing something a certain way is you have to make that choice. You have to determine in your heart that you are willing to change. And, if you're going through change management, you've probably, if you've been listening for a while, you've heard me talk about change. And the key to effective organizational change is getting your people, your team members, all of the employees on board with the change. You want to get them to the point where they're saying, yeah, we have got to change this. Because if you can get everybody on your team saying that, they're ready for the change. They want to change. And you prepare them by telling them how good it's going to be once we do change. Tell them about the new way of doing things, and you're going to get that buy-in from them. Well, it's the same thing if we're going to change one of our habits or the way we do things. We have got to decide, okay, I'm going to leave that way of doing things behind, and I'm going to switch, I'm going to adjust, and I'm going to start doing it this new way. Now, another thing we got to do, all right, so we got to make the choice. Another thing that is so important with changing and adjusting is the fact that we have got to realize that we cannot change by ourselves. We need people to help us change. And in a devotional, in the study, it talked about something. And if you're a believer, we have a counselor that is here to help us all the time. And that's the Holy Spirit. And if you're a believer, you know that you can pray to God for help, and He will help you change. The Holy Spirit will come beside you and help you along the way, will guide you, will allow you to do, things the way that they need to be done. The devotional also said, changing isn't about willpower, but it's about having the will and the power. And it said that God will give you the will and the power if you ask Him. And I think I've talked the other day about spending that quality time with God every day, because, man, you can gain so much wisdom just spending some quiet time with the Lord every day. And I've been starting to do that, and it's been, I kind of got away from it for a while, and my word for the year is prioritize. And I want to prioritize my life. I want God to be first. I want my wife to be second, family to be third, friends, and then business comes in fifth. And that's the way I want my priorities to go. So the will and the power. You need the will and the power to change. You got to make that choice to change. Then you got to kind of get help, seek help to change. If you're a believer, pray. And then you got to go through it. You got to change. You have to do the action until that becomes a habit. And again, there's no growth without giving something up. There's no growth or change without giving something up. So one of my favorite verses is, it's when you, and I'm going to get this wrong, and you can correct me, write it in the comments, but it's when you accept Jesus, you become a new person. And it says, the old is gone, the new has come. And so, again, you're getting rid of that old. You're giving something up. You're letting go of the old ways, and you're accepting the new ways, and you're living the new ways. So that's it for today. And come on back tomorrow, because I got a whole bunch of good stuff. Again, this season, I'm going to be starting to interview people. I'm coming up with questions now. I'm talking to a couple other people that are helping me come up with some really good questions that I can ask on this podcast. If you have any idea of questions that you want to ask me or some of my listeners, by all means, send them in, because I want you to be involved in this process. I want to provide you with the best information that I can get from the people that I'm going to be interviewing. So if you want to be interviewed, or if you have any comments on that, you can always reach out to me at Paul, Paul, at clcteam.com. And that's it for today. Have a great rest of your day. And until tomorrow, run to your challenges. We'll see you.